Like, that's ridiculous to me, right? Because there are a fucking lot of very emotionally incompetent people in relationships. That is not a good metric to measure this. There are plenty of emotionally incompetent people in relationships, and there are plenty of very emotionally mature people not in relationships. We learn how to be companions, how to be partners, how to navigate conflict in all of our relationships.
Tonight, and you're obviously invited, so call me back. Okay, love you. Bye.
What's up, you guys, and welcome back to Emotionally Online, the weekly summer party for spilling guts and sharing secrets, hosted by yours truly, the one and only Maddie Drosbeck, who has been answering every phone call I've received in the last 48 hours by saying, "Is this a cocksucker residence?" I've been saying that to myself over and over again, which I don't even know if that's a reference that most people know. It's from Serial Mom, which is a movie that I watched like 72 hours ago. I don't know why I'm speaking in hours. I'm like a mother that's speaking about her 28-month-old son. It's a John Waters movie that I only watched for the first time a few days ago. It just was recommended to me on Netflix. It is such a ridiculous movie, but there's a pretty iconic prank call that happens towards the beginning of the movie where she picks up the phone and she's like, "Is this a cocksucker residence? Do you live at 4235 Pussy Way?" Now I can't stop fucking saying it. I'm going to quote this movie for the rest of my life, and I know that. And now you know that. And if you haven't seen Serial Mom, maybe go watch it. It's like a satire on the true crime genre. John Waters. Very funny. I enjoyed my watch for sure. And now it's stuck in my fucking head. And I'm referencing it constantly. And I feel like nobody that I've referenced it to so far has known the reference. So they just, they don't understand why I'm being crude. But here we are, baby. Anyways, how are we doing? How are we feeling right now? I've got two cats meowing at each other from opposite sides of a door. Mango and Moldy are very fascinated with each other. They haven't had like a ton of socialization time with each other just yet, but we've been slowly ramping up to it. They have met each other. They've sussed each other out, and they seem to be really liking each other. Here, let me go get Moldy because she loves being held and she will like sit and chill with me while I talk. So let me go get her and introduce you. Here she is, my tiny little thing. She is so baby and has had like such a profound transformation in the 2 weeks that I've had her at this point. Oh, she came to me as like a very scared, very skittish, very hissy cat. She like when I would step into the room, she would run into a corner and hiss at me. And I've slowly gained her trust over time, and now she is like just the chillest, easiest little cat ever. Like I will pick her up and hold her like this and she's like, "Word, I love being held." I was on the phone with my grandmother earlier. I was just sitting there on FaceTime with my grandma for like an hour holding her, and she will sit here and just chill out. She loves being held. She loves being pet and kissed and loved on. Like she is loving human interaction now, and she was so scared of me when I first met her. It's just like such a wonderful transformation that is like so rewarding and just warms my heart. I feel like I'm getting better at the emotional part of being a foster parent. I think with Chirp and Roar, when they left, I was like devastated. I was so sad, and I knew that it was like, you know, this is how it was supposed to go. This is a part of being a foster parent, is that I am temporary, but I was like so at a loss with what to do with my feelings. I was like, I know this was how it was supposed to go. I know this is what I signed up for. I know this is all a good thing, but I don't know how to like process my sadness for this ending and for fostering feeling like a sad thing, despite it being like very much a good thing. And I feel like a lot of the advice that I got in the aftermath of fostering Chirp and Roar when I was on Instagram, like, how the fuck do y'all do this? Like, I'm so sad. How do you guys do this emotionally? The foster endings are just so painful. The thing that I heard the most from people was just to, like, really center within yourself the good of what you're doing and try to just, I don't know, ground yourself in how proud you feel about it, because you should feel proud. And like, these animals need help and they need people to love on them and give them a safe place. And I have done that. That is what I'm doing. And that's something that I should feel proud of and happy about. And that's what I need to ground myself in moments where I'm feeling sad about something ending. And I feel like this time I'm feeling more prepared for the end to happen. You guys are listening to this episode in August, but I'm recording it on July 22nd. So I'm a few weeks ahead of you guys right now, which means that I have already said goodbye to mold at the time you're listening to this episode. I'm recording some episodes early because I'm about to go up to Maine to visit my family for a few weeks, and some of my New York friends are coming with me. So I know I'm going to be, packed solid, trying to juggle all the socializing and catching up with family and, enjoying the summer. So I guess I'm like preemptively processing the hurt and sadness that I know I'm going to feel when I have to give her up at the end of this week. And yeah, you just like grow an attachment to these animals. I think especially when you go through such like a trial and tribulation period with them. Like with Chirp and Roar, they came to me with diarrhea and were just like an absolute mess to clean up. After I walked into that bathroom, like every 45 minutes there was something for me to clean up. They were like such a mess. And having to work with them to like make sure they were getting their medicine and making sure they were like healing properly. And then now with Moldy, to have to, like, she was also sick when she came to me, but beyond that, it was also the like not loving humans part of it. And so getting to, I don't know, see such a transformation with Chirp and Roar and with Moldy, it's like you've attached to them a little bit more, seeing that transformation happen. See, like, this is like the most interaction they've really had, is just like being around each other, observing each other, looking, sniffing. Mango, I can't hold you both at the same time, sweetie. I'm gonna put her away in a second and you can have me all to yourself. Oh my God, I've just got the loveliest girls in here. I know, Mango, you want to be held too. So anyways, I do feel a little bit more prepared to say goodbye to this girl, even though it's going to be so sad. I'm going to be devastated no matter what. It's never going to be easy, but I think I feel more prepared to sit with how sad that felt last time. And just like more, I don't know, proud of the choice to become a foster and like excited to keep doing it, because it does feel like it's filling me with a new kind of purpose, and it's added such a new kind of love to my life. And yeah, I really do like offering my bathroom up to kittens in need. It feels like it is worthwhile. And that's just the part that I have to remind myself of and cling on to when it starts to feel a little bit too sad. But Miss Moldy is going to end up in the happiest home with a family that loves her dearly the same way that I do. And they are going to love how gooey and cuddly she is. Because guess what? She had a residence at the Mad Mango Foster Home for Sweethearts and Lover Girls. I told you guys, we only cook up sweeties in this house. And I think it's safe to say we cooked up another one. And with that, that, let's get into these audience submissions, shall we? Hi, Maddie. Love your content and appreciate your wisdom. So, I'm a mid-20s girl who has never been on a date / never been kissed. I have a lovely support system that I've cultivated over the years, and I'm a proud friend. Normally, I have the confidence to dig into my other relationships, but for some reason, in a summer where I'm having the most fun, I'm struggling a lot with the why haven't I experienced this thing? What's wrong with me? For whatever reason, I keep hearing the line, someone who hasn't been in a relationship is a red flag, or you need to have been in a romantic relationship to know how to be in a relationship. Normally, this stuff doesn't get to me, but it does make me hesitant to even put myself out there for fear of being rejected because I am inexperienced in romantic love, which just serves as proof that all the comments above are correct, which I know that they aren't. When you were going through your own moments of questioning, how did you pour back into yourself? Well, first of all, let me just start off by saying and affirming to you that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. I get it. I understand the feeling. I've been there. There were for sure moments in my life in college where I felt the same. And I felt like maybe, and this is a wild thought now, but, imagining my 18, 19-year-old self thinking this, being like, I wonder if it would be easier to just enter a relationship just so that I can say that I've been in one. Because I used to feel really insecure about the fact that I had never been in a relationship when I was in college, in high school as well, high school and college. I felt like really plagued by this in a way that I don't as an adult. But I always used to feel like, well, maybe if I just like entered a relationship, even if it wasn't a great relationship or it wasn't something I thought could last long term, like I dated a lot of people. I have dated a lot of people, and there are people that I could have dated. And there were often times that I thought to myself, like, should I just to like say that I have, because then I know that there are going to be other people that won't judge me if they just know that I have had one person that I've been like boyfriend, girlfriend with, even if it doesn't mean fucking anything or hadn't impacted me or helped me grow in any type of way. And to be honest with you, I think the people that say things like that are going to make these like mass generalizations by saying that if you've never been in a relationship, that is definitively a red flag. People that say things like that are people that, for whatever reason, one way or the next, feel insecure about their own dating history. For example, maybe this is someone whose only relationship was in high school. It was a teenage relationship. It was a juvenile relationship. And maybe they feel insecure about the fact that they haven't had any like real adult connections in any way. And their only dating experience is when they were 16, 17 years old. And the only way they can make themselves feel better about their dating experience is if they dunk on someone that has had less experience than they do. Whatever the reason is, I don't feel that grown adult people say things like that. Say that not having dated anyone is an overarching red flag. Is it possible for it to be a red flag? For sure. But like I said, the same amount of times that not having ever dated anyone could be a red flag is the same amount of times being in a relationship is a red flag. There are plenty of people that are chronically in relationships that they shouldn't be, and that is a red flag. There are also people that never ever date, and it's a like type of avoidance, okay? That's also a red flag. There are two different types of red flags that it can appear here, right? But this is not like an overarching statement that you can make. Not all people that have never been in a relationship are a red flag, the same way not all people that have been in several relationships are a red flag. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we can cherry pick instances where both of these things are red flags, but to use it as like a mass generalization is just not true. And in my opinion, usually comes from the mouth of people that are very insecure about their own dating history for whatever reason and are trying to take a dig on someone they perceive to be lower down in the ranks than they are, and can make themselves feel better in the process. It's lame as hell though, and I think we all know that it's not true. I do hear this statement a lot in the summer, probably because of Love Island. Like, I feel like I just end up hearing this statement when I watch dating shows, because naturally there's at least one person on the show that's never had a like serious partner in the past. And I think sometimes this sentiment of that being a red flag gets brought up, which I think is really lame, because again, it is so stupid to think that, like, the people that think that's a red flag, if I dated any number of the losers that I went out with in college that probably would have loved to be my boyfriend, if I had just locked it in with one of fucking them, those people would see me as being more emotionally equipped or more emotionally intelligent than if I didn't. When in reality, I believe the opposite is true, and that I showed more emotional intelligence by choosing not to engage in relationships that weren't right for me than if I just said yes to any of those guys that I knew were not for me, just for the sake of having been in a relationship and being able to say, oh, I've had a boyfriend. That's so lame and is like just not a good metric to measure someone's emotional intelligence. Same goes for people who think that the only way you can be a good partner in a relationship is if you have been in a relationship before, and that the only way to learn about being a good partner, being a good companion to someone is through romantic relationships. Like, that's ridiculous to me, right? Because there are a fucking lot of very emotionally incompetent people in relationships. That is not a good metric to measure this. There are plenty of emotionally incompetent people in relationships, and there are plenty of very emotionally mature people not in relationships. We learn how to be companions, how to be partners, how to navigate conflict in all of our relationships. It is not just romantic partnerships that we learn those things in and that we go through the trials and tribulations of being locked in with someone. Right? And that's not to downplay the like importance of romantic relationships in our lives. It's just to say that it's not the only important relationship that we can learn from in our lives. I am notoriously someone that does not believe in the hierarchy of relationships. You will never catch me saying that romantic love is more important than any other kind of love. The romantic relationships are like locked off in a corner, and either you get it and you've been in one and you're a part of the club, but you're not and you're fucking stupid and you don't get anything. Like, that is dumb. What I will say is that I think there are a lot of people that don't engage in very intimate and invested relationships outside of their romantic relationships. So to those people, romantic relationships may be the only time they're really navigating conflict and intertwining their life with another person in such a way that it does challenge them and force them to grow. However, there are lots of people that have very rich, intimate relationships in all facets of their life, and I don't believe that those people are necessarily missing out on the emotional growth of not being in a romantic relationship because they are exploring so many other kinds of very invested, expansive relationships that are not romantic. But I do think we live in a world where a lot of people don't prioritize friendship and don't prioritize any other kind of intimacy outside of romantic intimacy. And so to those people, I'm sure it does feel like the only way you could have had that growth or could have explored that kind of depth with another person is through romance, but it's just simply not true. That's that. I guess that's my take on that, because I just think it's like a ridiculous take. There are so many emotionally incompetent people in relationships. Like, there's no way we can use that label as a metric for who is like emotionally competent and who's not. That's so fucking lame. That's literally so stupid. So I think that when that sentiment gets brought up, it is 9 out of 10 times coming from the mouth of someone that is dealing with their own kinds of insecurities over their dating history and just need to kick you to make themselves feel a little bit better. Because when you really break it down, it doesn't make much sense, does it? You know? And that's not to say it could never be a red flag. For sure, there are people out there that avoid intimacy like the fucking plague. And that, in many ways, can be seen as a red flag. If someone is not dating, never exploring deeper connections out of fear of intimacy, or, you know, because of something else that's like actually an issue, this is just the example that I'm using, then for sure that can be seen as a red flag. But to just say overall, if someone hasn't been in a relationship, they're a red flag, that's lame. and it's wrong. If you haven't met the right person for you, red flag. If you didn't say yes to one of the fucking losers that courted you when you were 19 just so you could say you could be in a relationship, red flag. Like, shut up. This is stupid. I think in moments in my life where I have felt insecure about this very topic or have heard people reiterating those thoughts over and over again, the thing I always go back to is like knowing within myself that I made the right decisions for me in all of my dating experiences. I look back on all of the people that I've dated and I am so glad that none of them worked out. There is not one person that I look back on in my dating life and think, God damn it, I should have done this so differently and it's the one that got away. Like, how will I ever forgive myself? I should have dated this person. There is not one person in my dating history that I look back on and think, yeah, that person was right for me and I fucked it up. Every single person that I have dated in the past, I am not with for a reason. It did not work for a reason. I feel confident looking at my dating history and saying, you know what? I made the right choices. I made the right calls. I am not meant to be with any of these people. And thank God I listened to my heart. I feel good about my choices, where I have landed, and my ability to show up for myself and assess what's right for me and what's not. And if someone else is going to judge me for that, then like, fuck them, right? There are some people out there that do not have enough emotional intimacy within themselves to even assess when someone is not the right fit for them. So do not bat a fucking eyelash when those same people look at you and judge you for not having been in a relationship. Because I'm telling you, there's an overlap there. Because people that are like happy and content and have their head screwed on their shoulders aren't judgmental as fuck like that. That's crazy. Okay? So I'm just saying, when people are being a hater over shit like that, something's up. Something's going on underneath the surface there. So I wouldn't take it to heart, and I would just ground yourself in, you know, the confidence that you made the right choices for you, and all the noise can just hush up. And that's that. Hey, Maddie, this isn't a secret per se, but I was wondering what your thoughts on collaborators making statements when a prominent figure gets called out. It's probably easy enough to tell that I'm referring to the Cody situation, a situation that has deeply disturbed me over the past few weeks. And I've seen many smaller channels, especially ones featuring women, discuss that it feels like it took a credible male creator to discuss the situation to finally get the ball rolling. And many people saying that creators who have collaborated with Cody in the past have an obligation to make a video on the topic, even if they've shared statements elsewhere. I'm unsure of my personal feelings on the latter. I've seen arguments that men, especially white men with large platforms in the commentary space, almost speak out against Cody's actions and silence since the story broke, and that tweets or Instagram statements are insufficient for the gravity of the situation. Just wanted to know your thoughts. Much love for you, Mango, and Moldy May. Yeah, I've also seen this pop up quite a bit in the aftermath of the Cody situation. I have complicated feelings on the matter because I think I agree with like parts of what people have said, but then there are other parts of it that I just think people take it a step too far. I think that it is acceptable to expect Cody Ko's close collaborators in recent memory to come out and say something. Do I think that every single person that has ever collaborated with Cody needs to come out and make a 30-minute video essay detailing this whole story and their thoughts on the matter? No. I find it to be totally acceptable to post a statement on Instagram and then moving forward you just don't work with him again, because that's the part that matters, right? The part that matters is the corrected behavior. I don't necessarily think that making a big YouTube video about him on top of a statement that was already made on other social media platforms does much else. Like, I think the statement was made, they said their piece, they have publicly distanced themselves from him, and moving forward they're not going to work with a guy that's done something so fucking horrific and shitty. That seems fair to me. And honestly, I think that any fixation on someone like Brittany Broski in this matter is like, you are focusing on the wrong fucking thing here. I I understand wanting her to make a statement, but then when she makes the statement to then be so hypercritical about that statement, and it's like nothing that she said was going to be satisfactory to those people. I think what was important was that she made the statement, and what is important moving forward is that she actually does distance herself from him. Do I think that there is much of a difference if Brittany Broski made an additional video on YouTube talking about this? Like, no. I think the statement has been made. What matters now is like the actions moving forward. I think that some people on the internet get very caught up in like delivering justice and feeling like they are morally superior in some way. And so I think they get caught up in correcting everyone's behavior to the nitty gritty when like Brittany made the statement. That was the part that mattered, right? From this point forward, it's just the actions moving forward. At the end of the day, Brittany Broski is not fucking Cody Co. Like, let's not decenter, let's not distract ourselves from what actually matters here. And I think that some people just get caught up in all of it and start getting real fucking, I don't know, nitty gritty once someone has already made their stance clear. I don't know. I don't really understand it, to be totally honest with you. I think it's fair to want his collaborators to make a stance, but then to be like so particular once that stance is made, just seems like it's sort of like misdirected anger. I don't know. I also will say that it wasn't just towards collaborators of Cody's that I saw. I saw people mad at like I said, every single fucking person that uploads videos on youtube.com, every single person that gets a paycheck from Google. I saw people in the comments of the most random fucking people ever. People be like, when are you going to say something about Cody Co? And it's like, what? This random person that has no connection to Cody and just also happens to make YouTube videos? Like, I don't think that person has any obligation to talk about this, nor do I think it's reflective of them if they choose not to. A little wild. Like, I saw some crazy DMs, and I forget, somebody, I think it was Gabby Bell, posted a screenshot on Instagram of someone DMing her and criticizing her for not making some larger statement when she has no fucking connection to Cody Co. She just makes commentary videos. And it's like, in D'Angelo's video, when he was calling out the people that haven't spoken about Cody, he was talking specifically about like the boys club surrounding the whole thing, the commentary YouTubers that Cody is in direct community with that have not said anything but have covered very similar stories. D'Angelo was not calling on every single person on youtube.com to discuss this. He actually was pretty clear in stating that he was more calling out the people that were in direct community with him that would have talked about subject matter like this if it were anyone else. But again, I think it's like some audiences get a little like trigger happy in like the delivering of justice and feeling more self-righteous or morally superior, that we see people sort of taking it a step farther, where I'm like, okay, we're in alignment, I'm on board. But then people start like death threatening Brittany Broski, and I'm like, okay, guys, let's rein it in here. Because what are we doing? What do we think that achieves? What do we think that accomplishes? Even looking at Brittany Broski specifically, who did issue a statement on Instagram and has since taken down episodes of content she did, like the Royal Court episode with Cody, I believe, was taken down. We have someone like Brittany who made a statement, has started taking down videos, and it seems like Brittany is not going to be working with Cody moving forward. Only time will tell on that one, but people are mad at Brittany because her statement wasn't good enough for them, and it wasn't worded the way they wanted it to be, and they want her to make a like bigger, more prominent video talking about the matter. And I guess I just don't understand what difference they think that makes when she's already made her statement, and what really matters is the action moving forward. Yeah, I guess I don't understand that part of it. They didn't do the thing that he did. They're not responsible for his action. There's not much else to be said other than the initial statement of like, I've seen this. This is wild. I will not be associating with him moving forward. Like, there's not much else to say. They weren't involved. They didn't do the thing. And I feel like people get caught up focusing on the wrong people and the wrong things. And I think sometimes it's just because people want to feel morally superior. And I think they feel close to these people through the internet. I think parasocial relationships allow people to feel like they have a closer grasp on these creators' like moral compasses. And so they feel like they have a place to deliver this like justice, this moral assessment of where they stand, or what their lack of a longer statement or more profound statement is. I also think the internet has zero fucking patience for people to like sort out what the best path forward is. Like for someone like Noel Miller, I understand why he hasn't made a statement yet, to be honest with you. Like for someone like Noel Miller, which I know this episode is coming out like 2 weeks after I'm talking about this, so I don't know if someone like Noel would have already talked about this by the time this episode is going live, but like I can understand why it might take someone like Noel longer to acknowledge what has gone on or take action, or, you know, whatever is going to happen or come from the TMG world in response to this, because it's more than just a collaborator. That's his longtime friend and business partner, and they're like deep in it with each other. I think the internet wants like quick responses to things that behind the scenes are much more complicated and require a little bit more tact and a little bit more time. Right? Like I think sometimes the internet wants, like they want the answers right now, and it's like, well, you don't actually know these people or what's going on behind the scenes. And Noel is clearly like deeply tied up with Cody. So I'm not surprised that it's going to take a minute to hear from Noel about this. And hopefully we do. Hopefully it's not a matter of like forever to hear him say something and to acknowledge the situation. But I don't know. I understand why it would take a minute there. And no, I think there's like a happy medium here. I think it's acceptable to expect people to say something, to expect people to take a stand when they have direct connections to the story at hand. Do I think that every person on youtube.com needs to say something? No. Do I even think that every person that does commentary needs to say something? No. Because just because someone is in the commentary genre doesn't mean they cover topics like this, are connected to Cody in any way, or really have anything new to add to the conversation. I think if you have something to say and you want to say it, then absolutely. But I don't think there's an obligation to, unless you're someone who is close to the situation at hand. And even then, I think this focus here should still be on Cody. Once someone has said their piece and distanced themselves from him, all we have to do now as the audience is just observe what happens moving forward. Do they actually distance themselves from him or not? The words here are just like nice. It's nice to see someone's public statement and like public, distance being put between them and Cody. But ultimately what matters is the action, and that we just have to wait to see. I don't think that making a larger YouTube video changes anything. I think that some people are just like lost in the sauce a little bit. Hi, Maddie. I may have made a social faux pas today, and I'd like to hear your take. I work as a barista, and a few days ago, a customer came in wearing a light green button-up shirt that looks just like the one that I had and donated to the thrift store when I moved a year ago. Well, she came in wearing it again today, and I got a better look at it, and I'm 90% sure it is the same shirt. I asked her where she got that shirt, and she said that she got it from the thrift store. I kind of laughed and said, I think that's my shirt that I donated a while ago. She kind of laughed awkwardly. Now I'm thinking maybe I shouldn't have said anything. I don't live in a super small town, but small enough that it's not unreasonable that that was my shirt. Was it weird of me to comment on it? Should I have just said nothing? Thanks. I think that this is nothing at all. I don't think that's weird at all. I think that I've actually thought about this before, because last year when we did the emotionally online merch, when we were working on that, there were a bunch of like blanks that were sent to me to like test out the shirts and the quality and everything and make sure it was what I wanted them to be before going live. And so once the shirts and the sweater and the crew neck and sweatpants and all that, once they were all finalized, I had all of these blanks of the runs that didn't make it to final print that I changed and whatever. And I donated those clothes to a local thrift store in Brooklyn. And I've thought to myself on multiple occasions, like, how funny it would be if I saw someone out and about wearing those items, because only I would know that they were not the final versions of the items. They're like these limited edition items that only got printed once, and then I changed them before they went out to all of you guys. So I've sometimes thought in my brain, I'm like, that would be crazy if I just like saw someone walking around with that shirt on, and I would be like, damn, like, you probably don't even know who I am. You're just wearing this shirt, and I know that it's different because I know that it's different. Anyways, I've just thought that in my head because I'm like, that's one of one, bitch. And it's just floating out there somewhere at the thrift store. Anyways, yeah, I don't think that's weird. I think that's just like a funny little coincidence that you observed and you said out loud. And to be totally honest with you, I doubt that the other person thought anything of it. They're probably just a little fucking awkward. Sometimes I'm awkward and I think about it for the rest of my life forever. To be honest with you, something that I do all the time is mishear people or not hear people at all, and then nod along or not say anything in return because my brain can't decide what to do quick enough, so that I just say nothing. I hate that I do this, okay? It is one of my least favorite things about myself, but I do it in a panic often, you guys. I do not have the best hearing. It's not that I have a bad hearing. I just find that I miss what a lot of people say. Perhaps it's everyone else's fault. They're not enunciating well enough. But I just know that there are a lot of times where someone says something to me and I'm like, no idea. No fucking idea what they said. They could have said anything on planet Earth. I do not know what came out of their mouth. And sometimes I don't, it's like my brain tries to process what they said and I wait just a little bit too long to acknowledge that I didn't hear what they said, that I just nod along. Or there have also been times that I just like straight up pretend I didn't hear anything at all because I really didn't. I feel mortified recounting this, you guys. And there are so many times when someone says something to me and I just have no idea what they say. And in the amount of time it takes my brain to like try to attempt to decode what they said, it almost is like too long of a time of me being like, no, you can understand it. Because, you know, sometimes you hear something and in the moment you're like, huh? But then it registers in your brain what it was they said a few seconds later. I will sometimes give my brain the opportunity to be like, no, actually, I did understand that. And sometimes I give it that time and it turns out, no, it's not going to come to me and summon into my brain. I have no idea what they just said. But then by the time I realize that it's like, there's no going back, I actually have no idea what words they said. It's almost too late for me to be like, wait, what'd you say? Without seeming weird. So I just go along with it. I'm like, the amount of times I have awkward interactions every week is like, it should be studied. It's so painful to me. And I would hate if anybody that had an awkward interaction with me went home and was like, damn, did I say the wrong thing? Like they like just giggled awkwardly. I'm like, trust me, it's not you, babe. It's me. You're not awkward. It was me. I was awkward. God damn it. So you know what? Maybe it's just they're a little awkward. We all are sometimes. Me all the time, it seems. But you just never know. And so while you're beating yourself up, they could also be at home like, why was I so fucking weird? Couldn't I have said anything in return? Me every day of the week. Sometimes I'm in my head like, think of a thought. And I'm like trying so hard to think of anything, but sometimes I just panic so much in social situations that literally anything I could possibly say goes out the window. And I always think about this because I know that I've encountered people in my life that probably expected me to be more outgoing because they watch my videos or have listened to my podcast or are friends of a friend and they have heard that I do videos or whatever. And I'm like so much quieter than they expect me to be, or I don't know, I just giggle along and don't give like the most amazing response to something because I'm having a panic attack. But people don't realize that I am And I think about it all the time. I think about it every day of my life. I'm like, this person probably thought I was a fucking bitch when really I was having a panic attack inside my head being like, say something, say something, say something. And I couldn't think of a single fucking thing. Oh my God. Sometimes it's so painful existing. Holy shit. Even recounting this is painful to me. But, you know, sometimes I slay. Sometimes I fucking kill a social interaction. In the right setting, with the right people, with the right vibe, I crush. Okay? High highs and low lows, baby. For as much as I crush, I also can't hear for shit. Duality of man. I can't be perfect. Okay? They had to make me bad at socializing. I've got my phone suction cupped to a railing that it keeps falling off of. So we're going to make this spiffy. Jiffy? What's the word? As you can see, I'm not in Brooklyn right now. I'm in York Beach, Maine, absolutely beaching it up. Last week, some of my friends were here. Now I'm here for a week with my family. And we've got to talk about the finale of Love Island. Can I get this off my chest right at the start here? I'm so glad this season is over. I'm so glad I never have to think about Joey Essex ever again. Like, I'm so sorry to British people if you have to be bombarded with his face in your media and other ways. I don't know exactly how big he is. They're like, somebody give me an equivalent. Is he like the British equivalent of like Vinny Guadagnino, where it's like you can probably avoid him, but like he's there. Like, if I past this point ever hear about Joey Essex again, I will be shocked. I'll be shocked. What business do I have knowing about Joey Essex past this point? Let's be real. Where we stopped talking last, we were at the Grafties, which is crazy. Crazy, I know. I was slow this season. I'm sorry, guys. The first thing they talk about at the Grafties is the public voting for least favorite couple. The least favorite couples are Lola and Harry, Grace and Ruben, and Io and Jess, which, of course, we know who the bottom is going to be. Lola and Harry just got there, and sincerely, nobody gives a single shit about them. So, unsurprisingly, Lola and Harry are dumped from the villa effective immediately. They don't even pack their bags. They don't have a big goodbye. They literally are like, we're actually in the middle of something, so can you guys just get the fuck out? And they proceed with doing the Grafties, and we just never hear from them again. So honestly, that was brutal. Brutal. If I was on Love Island, I would not allow them to do that to me. Like, when I heard that when you apply for Love Island, you get to tell them if you want to be like an OG, if you want to come in at Casa, a bombshell, whatever, and you can say I'm okay with everything or I'm only okay with some of it. If I was going to go on Love Island, I would say that you had to bring me in at the beginning. Or I want to be like the first or second bombshell to enter the villa. Like, if you don't enter pre-Casa, you're fucked. You're just fucked. You don't have a good time on the show. You're out effective immediately. The public doesn't give a shit about you. Like, it is what it is. But I would never agree to being the last person into the villa. Like, just don't go on Love Island at that point. Right? They just need to get rid of, like, the last group of people that they bring in. There's no point in them being there. Like, Lola and Harry had no shot. Why even invite them? Then we got the Grafty for flirtiest performance. We've got Sean flirting with just about everybody. All of his corny Candyman lines that I'm shocked have worked on even one single person this season. We've got Grace flirting with Ruben and a little bit with Harry, but Grace really wasn't flirting with Harry. I don't know. I'm just a Grace defender, I guess. Then we've got Joey flirting with Lola and telling Lola he's not closed off. And that it just depends on how much that she can graft, which I'm pretty sure he explicitly told Jesse that he did not do. But he did. But he fucking did. So Joey obviously wins this, and Jesse also brings up that he used the troublemaker line on her, like, "Oh, you're gonna be trouble with me." And Jesse was like, "Well, if she grafted harder, would it have worked?" And he's like, "What am I supposed to do?" And Jesse was like, "How about I'm not interested?" What do you mean, what am I supposed to do? Joey Essex, you deserve jail time for everything that you've put me personally through this season, but also Jesse. But at this point, I'm like, Jesse, what on earth do you see in him? after all this, is that really the person you want to be with? Astounding. It is. It is astounding. Joey Essex, you are a different breed. I've always said that Jax is like the biggest demon on all of Love Island. And I mostly stand by that. But Joey Essex, you might have him beat. Like, that's crazy. Then we've got the It's Giving One-Sided award, where we have Josh trying to love bomb Mimi and Mimi acknowledging that it was a little bit clingy and a lot at the beginning. Jessica telling Io that she wants him to be more vocally into her and to be nice back to her, and that man like says 3 words to her at any given moment, giving her absolutely nothing in return. And then there's Ruben demanding that Grace have that conversation with her before she ate, and she was like, can I have my cereal first? And he was like, no, I need to talk to you right now. I mean, the thing is that I really think that all of these connections are one-sided. So I wasn't necessarily rooting for any one person to win here. I have said from the jump that I thought Josh was very love-bomby to Mimi, and I thought that he was going hard, fast. And to me, that was suspicious, because I'm like, I just don't know that you've known each other long enough to warrant this level of intimacy, closing it off so quickly. Like, I don't know. I felt like Josh was gunning for the money. And I've said that since he entered the villa. So I agree with that one. I also don't think that Io likes Jess. I honestly, I think that he's in there to have a good summer. And that is what it is to him. And then Ruben and Grace. Yeah, I don't think they'll last. Anyways, Jess wins that one. Some other awards get brought out. And then there is the Ultimate Pot Stirrer Award, which we all know that Joey's going to get this one. We don't even need to talk about it. It's the clips are of Joey encouraging the boys to move mad in Casa and just outing all of his boys' drama. And as always, Joey will not admit a single goddamn thing he has done wrong. He is under the impression that his opinion is the truth, and therefore he can just say whatever he wants, and if people get mad about it, they just can't handle the truth and can't handle honesty, and it's like their problem and not his. But his opinion is like not the objective truth ever. Ruben calls Joey out and basically says that all the men in the villa are boys and not men, and that Joey has been treating Jessie badly and embarrassing the shit out of her up and down this season, which I agree. Oh my God, I think we all agree here. And then Joey, which we knew he was going to have this reaction, but he claims that it's all jealousy that Ruben has said this. He's just simply jealous of him, and it's because Grace is actually in love with Joey and not Ruben, and Ruben's jealous of that. Joey, what? Like, he is dead set on this idea that Grace is like still in love with him. And I don't feel like Grace has given him any indication that that is the truth past when they cut things off. Like, it seems like Grace just moved on, kept a kick in here, and Joey is like, at every chance he can get, he's like, well, Grace is obsessed with me, and you're dating Grace, so therefore you're just jealous of me because Grace is in love with me and not you. Joey, get a grip challenge. Joey's fighting, Jessie's trying to defend Joey, and the girls are like, you don't need to defend Joey here, like he's allowed to just be wrong. And literally Jessie is talking to Joey like he is a dog. She's like, Joey, stop. Joey, stop it. Literally, how can you speak to your boyfriend like he's a fucking dog and still be attracted to him? I don't get it. I do not get it. What's attractive about him? Don't know. Still waiting on figuring that one out. Don't know if we ever will. Obviously, the winner of this award is Joey. So whatever. That's sort of the highlight of the Grafties. Post Grafties, Jessie is mad at Joey, and Joey still refuses to admit he's done anything wrong. Jessie's trying to have like a productive disagreement with him. He is talking over her, won't let her get a word out, isn't like concerned about solving the conflict at all. He's simply concerned with being right, which I wish that Jessie was taking note about this being the way he deals with conflict, because he doesn't care about how Jessie feels or righting the way he acted, acknowledging the fact that he embarrassed her and disrespected her in how he's acted and how he's treated other people, and that she has been, cleaning up his messes for the duration of the season. Instead of acknowledging any of that, he's just like so committed to being right at the end of it all, which is going to be his downfall and is going to be ultimately one of the reasons that this relationship is not going to work, because there's no way it is. And then Ruben calls Joey out. Ruben walks over to Joey after all of this and is like, you got to watch how you speak to her. And Joey kicks off at Ruben. Like, don't tell me how to speak to her, whatever. He's just trying to keep you in check, dude. Unexplainably. I couldn't have predicted this if I tried. Somehow, the youngest man on this season of Love Island, the 21-year-old, is the voice of reason. Somehow, Kieran is the only one that has his head screwed on. And you know what? I want to give him credit where credit is due, because I actually quite like Kieran. And him and Nicole have grown on me quite a bit. I still hold the belief that Nicole is probably not that ready for a relationship. She seems like she has a lot of insecurities and things to work on that are gonna be hard on them in their relationship until she does work through it. But I like Kieran. I do like him. I find him to be very reasonable. And also, I love that he has not taken shit from anyone. He calls the boys out when they do things wrong. He has defended the girls at every step of the way. He really has like a voice of his own, an opinion of his own. He's not just like, I don't know, sitting back quietly while the boys do crazy things. He like will make his opinion known. And I love it. And I feel like a lot of the men on Love Island don't frequently do that. They just like move mad and they watch all their friends move bad and they just say nothing about it. Kieran is not like that. Kieran is like, you guys are all fucking losers. You act like 9-year-old boys, and I'm going to say it out loud. Sean is also doing the same thing as Joey, not accepting any responsibility for his shit stirring, saying that his opinion is just him saying the honest truth the same way that Joey does. It's just all ridiculous. Oh, I think what is so painful to me is that Matilda and Jesse seem to take this childish behavior as being charming in some way, and they're like, oh my God, they like talk to them like dogs. They're like, oh, stop, Joey, stop, Sean, stop. But then they look at each other and like, classic them. Those boys are crazy. Like they're not actually taking it seriously. It's like their immaturity is, I guess, a little bit charming to them. Don't understand why. Then we get to the couple voting game. Same shit, different day. We all know how this is going to go. Who's going to get voted for what. Grace and Ruben are voted by the Islanders. Well, they're predicting what the public have said. So it is by the public and the Islanders, I guess. But Grace and Ruben are voted least likely to work on the outside and are therefore dumped after all the different variations they do of those rankings. Then the next day, they bring in almost every previous Islander. There were a lot of people that weren't there, which I would love to know the why for that. Like, why were some people invited to this and some people were not? Or did people say no? Like, what was the tea there? And all of the previous Islanders vote for who they think the least compatible couple is. See, this was great. This was awesome for me to watch because which Islander has made the most enemies? Who was it? Who made the most enemies? That's right. It was Joey motherfucking Essex. So guess who got removed from the villa and therefore doesn't make it to the finale? Who? Joey Essex. Joey and Jesse are dumped from the villa. Because they made the most enemies. And that's Joey's fault, not Jesse's. And I hope she wakes up. I hope that she goes home and talks to all of her friends and they, like, knock some sense into her. That was the other thing, is that when the families came, like, the only people that were at least moderately truthful with their relative or friend were Matilda's sisters. And even they didn't go that hard. I'm like, do none of you really give a shit? Because if it was my friend, if it was my sister, if it was someone that I knew on Love Island and I was going into the villa after just watching 2 months of them being embarrassed and disrespected like hell, I would not be so nice. I would not be so forgiving. I would be the first person to walk in there and be like, wake the fuck up. What are we doing? And it's irritating to me that nobody ever walks in and says that. It was Matilda's sisters and then Io's brother or cousin. Io's brother or cousin, I forget how they were related. But he came in and was basically like, I think you had a better connection with Mimi than you did with Jessica. So that was like more honest than some other people have been, but still, like, I wanted them to go harder. Like, give me the raw and honest truth here. Someone. So then we make it to the finale. And at this point, I want Nicole and Kieran to win. If Mimi was not with Josh, I would be voting for whoever Mimi was with, but I don't like Josh. So I wouldn't be voting for Mimi and Josh personally, because I'm not rooting for Josh. I think he's in it for the money, and I don't trust him around Mimi, okay? Precious Mimi, who has had such a tough go this season, I think she deserves better than Josh. So Josh and Mimi are out for me in terms of who I want to win. And obviously I'm not voting for Sean and Matilda. I would have to be out of my mind to vote for Sean and Matilda. And I'm definitely not voting for Jess and Io either. Come on. That's not happening. Io, the man who says 3 words in response to Jess, who, like, Jess clearly really likes Io, and Io's like, haha, yeah, cool. He speaks like a 12-year-old boy texts. So, obviously, I'm not voting for Io and Jess. Obviously, I'm not voting for Sean and Matilda. The only 2 couples that are worth voting for at all would be Josh and Mimi or Kieran and Nicole, but I don't like Josh. Kieran and Nicole took first place for me. Because also, like, what is the show called, people? Love Island. The only people that got close to finding a real connection this summer were Nicole and Kieran. Even looking back at, like, their like memories, let's recap our summer. Their videos of their recap were really sweet, really nice. It was like easy watching, easy listening. They were cute. I was with it by the end there. In 4th place, we had Io and Jess. Okay, that's what we thought. In 3rd place, we had Sean and Matilda. Okay. This is also what we thought and what we hoped. In 1st place, taking home the title of Love Island Summer 2024 champs is Mimi and Josh. Josh, if you want to earn back my trust, give Mimi the $50K. Give Mimi all the money and maybe I'll forgive you for love bombing. I'm not that mad because I'm happy that Mimi won, but I can't help but feel like this was Josh's plan. I would have rather Nicole and Kieran won it. Just because they were the only couple that I actually liked each other at the end, to be honest. They're the only couple that I'm like, it's going to be hard for you two, but I could see this working. You know, I think you are objectively compatible, even if I think Nicole is maybe not as ready for a relationship as he is. I think as people, they actually work well together. But I do like Mimi, so I'm glad that she won. But Mimi, I think you should take the whole 50. I wish they kept doing that thing where they used to do the winners. They could choose to either split the money or someone could take one half of it. I get they stopped doing that because everyone always chose to split it. But this could have been the season. This really could have been the season that one of them said, you know what? No, I'm not going to split it. Actually, I'm taking the $50K for myself. And that's what Mimi should do. In response to all of this. In response to me personally not trusting Josh, I think that Mimi should take the full $50K. I think that's fair. I think that Mimi was in there for twice as long, okay? She deserves to be paid significantly more. Don't split it half and half. Give him like $5K. You get 45, he gets 5. That seems like a fair split to me. that seems completely fair, actually. And all of his money has to go towards taking Mimi out and flying to see her and whatever else. It's a couple fund. Actually, I wouldn't hate that. It actually kind of would be cute if it was like a couple fund and the money just goes to funding plane rides and rent and whatever else. Right? Maybe that is what a lot of them do. I don't know. Well, anyways, that's the end of the season. Thank God. I never have to talk about Joey Essex ever again. And with that, the sun is going down. I need to go smooch mango and eat a lobster roll. So, love you guys so much. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in next week's episode.